team, family, squadron. We're gathered together today with the Most High, a very special guest. We've got five-time Golden Door winner, 5,000 career accounts, my GOAT, Andrew Hansen, joins us on the landing pad today. I can't wait to take a deep dive, not just into Andrew the Elite Seller, but into Drew Hansen, $56 million program builder. But as for right now, welcome out to yet another episode of the landing pad.
Andrew Hansen, we're back. This guy is the saltiest vet on the landing pad.
Mm-hmm.
At least 4 times at this point.
I've been around.
You've been around. You're experienced. You've
I've
sat across the
also
table.
been a supporter.
You have been. You're a listener. You're an avid listener.
Absolutely.
It's your number 1 podcast in your Spotify Wrapped every year, the last 4 years. So, Drew, we're back, summer 2024. We just had Skylar on a few days ago. It just made sense to get you on, right? We talked to Skylar a lot about the shift, Grit 2.0. Everyone's been seeing a lot of stuff on Instagram talking, whether that be about Mira, talking about our new partnership. But more than anything, like Easton already mentioned, we've kind of beat the dead horse about Drew Hansen selling. You've done it. Okay, 5,000 accounts in 5 years. Whatever, you're good. Well, but obviously, dude, when you set out to do this job, and you talked about this at the GPS, like your goal in all of this, yes, was to become like the best sales rep, but you also wanted to be the biggest. You wanted to not just become like a personal GOAT, right, in the personal sales arena, but also in like the building aspect of this job. You and Easton, this last summer, you guys partners, did just over $55 million in revenue, and still counting. Guys are still out there grinding. Mira in Atlanta.
Couple warriors
absolutely
out there.
getting after it. And in Orange County, let's see, OC.
Palm Springs.
They
just condensed, but
Atlanta.
And Atlanta.
Dallas guys just got back.
Cool. Yep. So they're still out there, still grinding. So you guys will probably hit 56, 57 million this summer. That's kind of what we want to talk about. But before we do, I'd love to hear, this year was different than any year we've ever had. And it's like, it was a different company this year. I would love to hear now, how many years? Was this your 9th year, 7th year, 8th year?
I ain't as old as you. Come on.
At least 6.
Come on now.
Seven.
Going on
7
years in, going on 8.
Cool.
Yeah.
Dude, talk to me. Every year is different.
Yeah.
Every year you think you've got it figured out, and the summer comes, and it just punches you square in the face.
Correct.
You find that curb to sit on and cry.
Correct.
It happens every year. Dude, talk to us about like the lessons learned, maybe 1 or 2 lessons that you learned this last year that it took, 7 summers to learn.
Well, that's a loaded question. Yeah. I think that like last year, right, after the 2023 summer, we had the big summer, we had all the golden doors. And then, upon everyone arriving home, like the warning was out there, like, hey, like when you get home, it's going to be different. Like things are going to be different. It's going to look different, feel different, sound different. Like it's going to be different. And that's when we started to implement all these different systems. Like, so when we started like building out the Salesforce CRM, that's when we started doing these orientations that we did all last year. Then like we introduced like, the actual like a legit blitz model versus just like having some guys go out there and knock for a week or so. Mm-hmm. Did the spring block thing for the first time, ran up the summer block, did the fall block thing for the first time. And so this has definitely been a year of like taking a step backwards to hopefully take more than 10 steps forward. But I think that like biggest lessons learned, I think that like, on like a business level, personal level, what exactly do you want me to do?
Sure, yeah, business. What did you learn this year in pest control that you feel like?
Yeah, or just whatever comes to mind. Personal,
totally,
spiritual, pest control, sales, team building, leadership.
Yeah, I think just as far as like the business goes, right? Like, I think that because we implemented all these systems this last year, we kind of gone away from a lot of the things that have kind of helped us get up until this point. Some of like those, rituals that we do or things that we do with our reps to, help them go from 2 reps to 4 reps to 8 reps to 16 reps to 32 to 64. Like, I think that there's been a time period over the last 12 to 18 months where we haven't done that as much because we've been building out all these systems where I think like where a lot of guys kind of, maybe not so much struggled, but just like, kind of had gone through this year a little bit confused, feel like they're sitting in the gray is just the lack of clarity and vision where like the opportunity is still the same, like the opportunity is still the same. Like the more you execute, the more opportunity that you'll have, the more you sell, the more leadership, like opportunities that you'll have, the more people will want to work with you. Where I think that like, we kind of got up in the night a little bit of thinking like there's a completely, totally different way of doing this, which there is. And like, that's why, we run our program so much differently than the rest of the space does. But at the end of the day, like the main thing still is the main thing, right? It is like selling, recruiting, managing, like leveling up as a human, helping your people level up. I think like this last year, this has totally been like a year of growth for me, for sure. I think like we've been calling it, a transition from Grit 1.0 to Grit 2.0, and there actually being a death of Grit 1.0, and like this new thing is starting. I think that for me, and I talked about this at GPS, but in Grit 1.0, anyone that had met with me or worked with me, like it was no secret that it was just very sales centric, right? Like it was so much about how to sell more pest control revenue. Like that was what my focus was, through the first 3 to 4 years of Grit marketing, where I think that that's, probably where we've gone a little bit wrong. Where in Grit 2.0, I don't want it to just be like about sales, right? Like value doesn't chase dollars chases value. And so the more like we can help, and I can level up as a human and like make the whole human paradigm be the main focus, not just like how to make more money, not just how to like, sell more pest control revenue. Like it really is diving into all the avenues of growing financially, for sure, spiritually, emotionally, social, emotionally, like that being like at the forefront of everyone's, of everyone's heads of like, no, like you have to become a more valuable human to actually like make waves in the space.
Because I would just like double tap on that, right? Like in this industry so much, even like in the recruiting process, it's just like, oh, we're better because like our averages are higher.
Yeah.
We're better because our average rookie makes more. And that stuff is so important. But I think that it is true, dude. It took us 3, 4, 5 years for us to take a step back and be like, listen, we don't just want to be the best at selling pest control.
Yeah.
Like, and we love it and we're amazing at it and our guys are really good at it. But it's like a lot of the times that you take a step back after 3, 4, 5 years and like, wait. Like, this is the path that I'm going. And it's a good path. It's not like you got so far off of like,
No, dude.
you went off
Tons
the
of money,
good
tons of
human
impact,
path.
yeah.
Amazing humans, good leaders were raised. But in the meantime, it's just like, wait. Is that true? Is that actual true happiness? And if it is, like what adjustments can I make to, just course correct, even just by a degree or two to get you more aligned? Yeah. Because dude, in this job, if it's just eat, drink, and sleep pest control, it's like, dude, you can kind of go crazy. Yeah. And you can lose sight of like what's actually important. And I think totally as like a company this year with the shift of Grit 1.0 to 2.0, I think we'll continue to be the best at what we do because we try the hardest, we work the hardest, we iterate, we take a step back in order to take 2 steps forward. But let's just not lose sight of like what's really important in all this, whether that be friendships, whether that be spirituality.
Relationships, growing spiritually. I think also, right, like there's a total difference between being motivated and being inspired, right? Like motivation just will die out, and I think like that's what we've seen, at least like I've been in it, right? Like when I can go out and be motivated for a short period of time for a selling season, but like that motivation will die out as soon as like the selling season gets over, or as soon as like that month of like going hard gets over, like that motivation can die out. Where, dude, being inspired, like moving inspired, like building inspired, like that's different, and like that actually takes going and capturing vision and like having someone cast vision for you of what that can actually look like, and the type of human that you can become, and the type of impact that you could have, and the investments that you could get into, and what that can compound into. Not just the investments, but the relationships and, the impact and so forth. But dude, like, again, there's a distinct difference between being motivated and being inspired. And like, I think that, a lot of the guys who treat this as a sales gig or think like a sales guy, like, hold the stick of just being motivated all the time.
Yeah.
And again, that will die out.
100%.
I think it's super interesting to see as the key pieces and players within a company evolve, the company ends up evolving. Because like, what have we been?
Yeah.
You hear like our main piece, in a lot of ways, trailblazer for like elite selling. What's been his focus? Like sales centric. So what have we been as a company? Like quite literally marketing sales centric. Okay, we're starting to see a shift. It's just interesting to see. I want to start thinking more about the whole person paradigm and exploring other channels and avenues for growth and progression and earnings and impact. And so like lo and behold, what does the Grit start doing as a company?
Yeah.
We start pursuing bringing our accounts in-house. We start buying portions of other companies and operating partners. We start making investments on a company level. It's just really interesting to see the way that a business really just is a manifestation of whatever culture and you've created. And culture, like we always talk about on this show, is just what the top guys are about. So it's really interesting to see Drew talk about this evolution from viewing it as just a sales thing and how can we sell more pest control revenue to more of like a full-bodied, robust, like actual, I guess like well-rounded company, and that's the direction that we're headed as a company. So,
Dude, I'd love to hear, Drew, like all of this can be great. And people that are listening is like, oh, sure, so Drew's changing. Like, what are some of the tangible changes that Drew is giving up from 1.0? Actually, just what are you doing different? What does Drew in Grit 2.0 actually look like? What are some of your, routines that you've taken on yourself? Like, what are things you're committed to in your personal shift?
Yeah, I mean, coming back to like this year being like a year of growth, like, it's no secret, like my life has totally changed this year. Like January of this year, me and my ex-spouse, like we separated. I went through a divorce this year. Like it ended on as good of terms as it possibly could have. Like tons of love and respect, going both ways. And, all that we wish is happiness for one another. But like, dude, going through hard shit, it just like makes you sit down and like do an evaluation of like, okay, what can I actually get better at? And, to say that I was a big, big into meditating or big into like doing self-downloads, it's like I didn't do that in 1.0, right? Like actually taking time to sit there and like self-reflect and like actually make, internal shifts and changes. Like it was just go, 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 like all the time in 1.0, where like in 2.0, like I've been very lucky with my timing, in my personal life and within like, the timing of the company and all these changes that are happening that no, dude, like the timing is aligning and this can actually be like a new leaf for me, right? And like, I think that's been one of the greatest lessons learned this year is like, one, dude, my path is not going to look like everyone else's. And I think that's, everyone gets so caught up, especially in this Utah summer sales bubble of like, it's got to look and be one way. And if it doesn't look and be one way, then like you're a failure. Where like, where I don't believe that anymore. Like I think like in 1.0 totally did, to a degree, right? But I think like in this 2.0 for myself, but also like, within the company, like the more you can actually just sit there and be self-honest, like, dude, there is such a toxic culture in this industry of like talking a big show, like not like changing internally, like thinking that if reps are frustrated with you, like it's the reps' fault, right? Like, or if things don't go the way that you wanted it to, it's because of the market, or it's because of the company, or it's because of the operator, or it's because of the technicians. Where like, no, like a lot of the things like are internal shifts that you have to make, and a lot of those things repeat, internally. Like that's your intuition telling you that like, no, you need to change this. No, you need to like actually admit that like you are in the wrong, or no, you need to actually change the way that you're thinking or going about this. And I think that, like this year has been a total shift in that degree, if that makes sense. But I think that as far as like rituals, routines, I think that like my focus is just way more on being just a healthier version of me, because I truly believe like health is wealth. Like I look at all these guys in the space, being around Todd and Casey more, or being around Todd for the first time ever, being able to go up and golf with those guys up at Victory Ranch a couple months ago with John. That was my first time ever being in that environment, and like around Todd, around Casey, like dude, they're so focused on their health, like. Dude, they're in shape. Like they wake up early. They take time for themselves. They put boundaries in. Like they put in like actual hours where like they can focus on just progressing and becoming better humans. And that's what they attract. Like that truly is what they attract. Where like if you just stay in this sales mode of go 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 go, like you will attract those types of people. But like again, there's burnout with that.
Yeah.
Where like with those guys, there's no burnout there.
Dude, it's just intention, right? Like hanging out with those guys. Like so much of the time we look at people that are so busy and like we are like, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like we look at them as like examples. Right?
Yeah,
Like, oh, that guy's always on his phone. He's always making phone calls. And it's like, dude, hell yeah, that guy's a grinder.
Right.
Then you hang out with, Todd, Casey. And dude, those guys, like when the first time I met with Todd, when we were doing all this stuff, dude, we were together all day. I mean, from like 9 a.m. till 6 p.m., whether it was golf, whether it was talking by the lunch table, whether it was like hanging out in the hot tub, whatever this was, dude, he didn't check his phone one time. One time the entire time that we were all together. Dude, that alone is like a superpower. So you're talking about like health and being focused on like, oh yeah, those guys are also insanely healthy. Why? Dude, because when they are committed to doing something, when they put time aside to do something, they're all in on that one thing.
Yeah.
And like that was for Todd, I'm sure he got back to his phone and had
300 messages.
300 messages, right? Like actually, and like I'm sure Casey did as well, but it's like being able to sit down and focus and be so intentional with every aspect of your life. It's really, really hard, especially in the rat race where it's like, oh, dude, if your manager's not like, dude, if he's not on the phone all the time, like what's he doing? If he's not doing this, what's he? No. We need to take a step back and just be like, oh, no. When I am all in on something, I'm fully intentional.
Yeah.
When I'm with my wife and kids, dude, I'm fully with my wife and kids. And I have to be so much better at that. Dude, when I'm in a recruiting meeting, my phone is on do not disturb, and I don't care who is texting me or calling me. Like, you are getting all my undivided. If I'm at the gym, dude, I'm at the gym. Yeah. I'm not there to talk to people. I've got 1 hour. I need to be super intentional with my time. I'm at church. I need to be fully intentional. It's like that's just a thing that helps you just be so intentional with everything that you're doing.
Yeah, I think at the tail end of 1.0, right, like that intention started to, at least for myself, right, like intention started to fade, where like, again, like whatever the top leadership is about, like that, it bleeds down and that's what the culture becomes, right? And so, no, I truly believe, like, dude, intention really matters. Like, it really, really, really does. Like people say that and like you can take it with a grain of salt, but like, I'm talking about everything, right? Like the way that you wake up, the way that you go to the gym, the way that you come home, the way that you like show up to a meeting, the way that you show up for your day, like, dude, intention matters.
Yeah.
Where like just checking the boxes, like going out to Hood, like you get what you're looking for, right? So if it's like another day in the office, a bunch of more first recruiting meetings, a bunch of more vision meetings, like, dude, you will get that in return. Like, you will get that type of response where if you show up, like, and I think like, dude, I feel like it's so much easier when you get aligned in life and like you make these shifts and you make these adjustments. Like it's so much easier to show up with intention.
Yeah.
Because you're not going against the grain anymore, right? Like where like if you're not getting aligned in your life and you're not listening to those thoughts or those impressions that you have coming from within, like it's really hard to wake up and be intentional because like you're just drained all the time.
Yeah.
Where like if you can get aligned, like dude, showing up with intention, like you will get again what you're looking for. Like if you show up to give an A+ first meeting, like it's gonna go really, really good. If you show up to deliver a badass morning meeting in market, dude, like back in the day in 2021 and 2022, dude, I would prep and like I would be up all night thinking about, okay, dude, I know that these guys are coming to morning meeting seeking for answers.
Looking for help,
desperate for help, right? Like where if I show up, no prep, so what's up guys, what you running into? Like if that's my intention going into it, like that I'm gonna get, I'm gonna get that type of result as far as like how the meeting went. And so just showing up with intention, like showing up, like I truly believe like anything that's worth doing is worth overdoing in life. And so showing up with the intention, right, to get as much out of it or to be the best you in that, like that's the only thing that you can control is that present moment. And so showing up with full intention, like that totally, totally matters.
which nowadays is way harder than it's ever been.
100%.
With our phones, dude, we have unlimited anything at your phone whenever you want it. Yeah. So it's like, it's so easy to check out, check in, check out, check in, whether that be Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, whatever it may be. Dude, it's so easy to step out. And that's why people are so drained too. Because it's like, instead of focusing on one thing and being dialed in, you're going from, whether you're on the doors or in a meeting
it's constantly divided attention, constantly divided energy. You're never, ever putting 100% in one place, ever.
Ever. Dude, it's just gotten to the point now where it's like people are just never bored, right? It's like if you're bored, like people don't even pee now without like taking their phones out by the urinal. Like it is crazy. So it's like nowadays, I love hearing that, Drew, that it's like you found the answer to like, okay, time to dive back into being intentional in whatever I do. Because that's just gonna be like, that's how you get the best version of yourself. That's what I love about Ben. Ben made the decision in every meeting. He's like, I will be present in every single meeting. And so it's like any meeting I'm in with Ben, dude, the guy never has his phone out. Even if it is like not applicable to Ben at all, he is just in the moment, like asking the right questions, having the right takeaways, just taking every drop from the meeting, and then after the meeting, then it's okay. Where's his intention? Is it lunchtime? Okay, I'm gonna hang out, I'm gonna chat. That's totally fine. It's just being able to be totally intentional in everything that you do.
Yeah, and I think that's what made it so easy for me to decide to work with all you guys back at GreenX is like that was the difference.
Yeah.
You know, like you come off as like so much more of an authentic human versus like not like, dude, you can tell when people are inauthentic and like not intentional and like just show up to like get a bag. Like you totally can like you totally know and feel that, right? And like at least if you have a little bit of social awareness, like you can know and feel that where it's not like it's no secret, right? Like it's very apparent to most of the people that you're around. And so showing up with intention, like again, it just really does matter.
100%, dude. I would like to actually touch on this. It just came to my mind. So you're in this now This is going into your 8th year. Dude, and East, what year is this for you?
7.
1 year behind.
7, right? So we're like looking at this.
Oh yeah, I'm old, bro.
Yeah,
You don't need to keep
you're
telling
old.
me.
No, what I'm getting at is, dude, in this industry, so many people, and this is just like what the culture has taught us now. It's like kind of get rich quick now, right? Well, it's like, I want to be an influencer, so I can just get checks for doing not nothing.
No,
but
and like this era, right? Like, dude, it wasn't really like that in 2017, 2018. Like when I first started, like.
It just people want gratification
quick as
quicker,
possible.
quicker, right? And that's just the nature of the beast. Dude, Drew, I would love for you to talk about like your mindset going into like the future. Like a lot of people can't even think past 1 year. Like, dude, with this, you guys have now created a $55 million program that obviously didn't happen overnight. You're now 7 years deep, which some people can think that's fast. Some people can think, oh, dude, like that's slow. What has been your mindset in building something that hopefully will last another like 10 years? How is your approach to building your program? Like, how do you feel like having a more like long-term mindset helped you build this program rather than just like, hey, let's do it as fast as we can every single year?
Yeah, I heard this the other day, and I hope I don't butcher it, but it's like, it totally resonated with me, right? Like, I know that like the example that this guy used, he talked about like this Thanksgiving dinner, right? That like his grandma like cooks every single year, and he talks about how like, dude, like like the reason why it's so good is because, dude, she don't wake up at, a few hours before the dinner and like starts cooking, right? Like, no, dude, it is slow roasting, right? Like she's waking up at 2, 3 a.m. the night before, like it's marinating, right? Like, dude, it's sitting, like it's being prepped. Where I think a lot of people, especially in today's day and age, because everything's so quick and fast, like everyone wants to just, do microwavable inputs. And like, because you think in like the aspect of, no, dude, I just want quick and fast and easy, and I want like the microwavable version, and I want to get slow roasted results, right? Like, life just doesn't work like that. And so like anything that's gonna be great or delicious or like, lasting, like it takes time, right? Like I truly know that, like, maybe people didn't see it in me, back in middle school and back in high school, and but like, dude, like I've always believed that, like, dude, like whatever's in here, it's been slow roasting. Like, and because I've gotten more intentional with understanding myself and understanding like what makes me tick, like, dude, I can truly believe that, like, because I'm building the right way with the right people and doing it, with the right intention, like it will be. It will be that amazing meal 15, 20 years from now, where, like, dude, I don't want the microwavable version. I don't want the microwavable results where like that's so, like, it's just so easy to think that way so quick and so often. That doesn't mean being complacent, and that doesn't mean like
Go
slow. That means go as hard as possible, but also like go as hard as possible for as long as possible. And don't have any expectations of what that will be at the end of the day. The point of it is to just maximize all your efforts as you're doing it.
Well, dude, like, and to this point, this is almost a shout out to anybody listening that's not at the grit, is make sure you're also in a place that can slow roast.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we look at like some of the options that are out there, not throwing anybody under the bus. I think that every option, wherever you're at, can be an amazing option, especially in door-to-door. Now, I think there are good, better, best options, totally. But it's like, wherever you are, if you're crushing it, amazing, keep crushing it. That being said, though, like, it takes 7, 8 years. It takes 10 years to build something that's gonna last and build something beautiful and build something, to your point, like delicious. Where if you're looking at like the owners of the company or the trajectory of the company, are they selling out in the next 5? Is that the plan in the next 5 years? Are they just a marketing company that doesn't have plans to go in-house? Have they just been kind of mediocre the last 20 years? Like, what are you kind of are you almost forced to be in a microwavable situation because of your surroundings? Where like the invitation here is, dude, we just hit, as we said with Skylar, 1,000 accounts. We're probably like 1,300 accounts with Mira. We will be a nationwide company. But guess what? We're not gonna do that in a year. We're not microwaving Mira. This is gonna be a slow roast, 10, 15, 20 year, done the right way. The accounts produce the way they should be produced. So it's like, dude, if you wanna be in a kitchen, right, where there is a crock pot, where there is an oven, where you have all those tools to do it, we've got it here. And like, it doesn't have to be this year. Like I said, we're gonna be here for the next 10, 20 years, but we would love to have you come cook in our kitchen because our kitchen has all the right, equipment to help you do it? Because it's true, dude. Everybody wants microwave right now.
Right.
A big deal.
I was in a long meeting last night with this kid that is, I come back from Florida to Utah, and it's like first meeting, total stud. So who you meeting with? Literally everyone. I'm like, oh, welcome back to Utah. Here we go, right? Like diving into this, 90 to 100-minute meeting, and the whole point of it, right? Like, dude, like 85% of the guys that, that I'll sit down with, first, like the way that I started is obviously like, dude, you got to do what's best for you, right? And then it's like, dude, talk to me about what you want, like, and like talk to me about what's in your field goal, like what is important to you, to your spouse, like what do you want to get out of this, whether it be 1 year, 5 years, 3 years, like, and most of the time it's like, I want to be around the right culture. I want to be in an environment that'll push me. I want to make the most amount of money possible. And I want to have, dude, I want to do good. Like I want to be able to give back, whether that be impact and bring people into this, or, make enough money to like go and donate, or again, like, coming back to impact. And the way that I'll like navigate most meetings is like, dude, this is, cause like, this is where I'll come back to like intention and alignment, especially like on a company level. Dude, we'll meet with kids, or we'll have kids that'll switch over, and I'll be friends with the president of sales or the owner of the company, for example, for this one specific scenario. And like these kids will come and meet, and they're like, I'm like, oh yeah, like so and so, the owner, right? Like that's who you work directly with. They're like, oh yeah, dude, that guy sucks. I'm like, what do you mean that guy sucks? Like, oh dude, he doesn't care. Like he's like not involved with the sales program. And I'm like, well, dude, that guy doesn't suck. He's just not running a company like that's focused, all on the reps, right? All on you. Where like this is why grit. Let me tell you like why grit. Like let me talk to you about like the reps that you're going to be around and why we've worked so hard to like build the best reps in the whole country. Let me talk to you about the leadership and why we've carried the mantle of leadership in such a sacred light. Let me talk to you about the culture and why we care so much about the culture. And at the end of the meeting, it's like, dude, this is why we align. Is because, dude, like what is in your field goal is in my field goal. Like this is why we didn't do the branch model 3 years ago, because the people who are running the branch model, dude, they care about you, but like, or like the owners that want to like build up this company in the next 5 or 6 years and sell it off, dude, their intention is not what's in your field goal. Their intention is to sell off the company, or their intention is to sell the branches, or their intentional in an unstandardized pay model where guys go and find the biggest deal is to net the most amount of margin possible and to recruit kids based off naiveness. Dude, that doesn't align with your field goal. Like that's where like intention totally matters. Where like, dude, that's why I work at a company, right? Where like it is fully focused on the reps, because for my rookie year on, like, dude, I didn't, like my first 2 summers, I didn't have that. Where like when I went and met with you, Garth, back in 2019, like I felt that our field goals aligned. What you were doing, like whether that be at GreenX long term or moving on to the next thing, what was important to you and was what was in my field goal. And so I sit there with the rep and I'm like, well, dude, who pays so-and-so's bills? Well, it's the people who buy the pest control because he owns the branches. Where who pays my bills? Bro, it's you. It's you. The better that you do, the better that I do. And so all of my time, energy, attention, and focus goes back into helping you as the rep grow financially, emotionally, social emotionally, spiritually, like that. The more, like the better that you do, the better that I do. We completely and totally align.
Dude, East, I feel like me and you've had so many conversations on this. Dude, I would love for you to, just doubling down on what Drew was talking about, how like the grit's customer is the rep, not the other way around. I think you talk about that great.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's really the overarching reason why, as we left our previous company, like we decided to pursue this model. Like the whole intention, all of it, and I say this in every meeting that Drew and I do, it's the ultimate mark of a leader is someone who decides what is best for them, not by what is best for them, but by what is best for their people. And like if that's the barometer of what's a good or great or bad decision, like you will never go wrong, because if you're doing right by your people, like if you're loyal down, the idea is that you'll always have support. And so I make this point that to what Drew is saying, where other companies are making decisions based off their customers, like any good company should.
But you have to.
The reality is the customers are just different. The customers are homeowners in Cincinnati or Maine or Arizona or California, whereas my customers are the kid who lives at the village and is meeting with 6 companies. Like, I am incentivized to do everything I can, to Drew's point, to earn. So it's just, it's a different in intention, but it's a different in like the literal function of the company. Like where the money travels through the business, it's just different from our model versus many others. And that's why our whole shtick is like, we're the rep company, we're the people company, we're the sales company, and this is how it's reflected in our pay. This is how it's reflected in profit sharing over marketing deals. This
Branding,
is how it's reflected
marketing.
in our branding. This is how it's reflected in standardization and culture. So it's really just I think to put a bow on all of this. Like I think that is the ultimate test of like if you do align with someone or not. If, like Drew is saying, their field goal matches what's in your field goal, like the first question that should always get answered in a setting like that, or really in any setting period, whether it's pest control or law firms or marketing agencies or deciding where you want to go to grad school, like the cultural fit should be first. Does this work? Yeah. Do me and you work as partners? Do we align with the same things? Because like where people are going to feel authentic is if someone's field goal post is like, yeah, I'm here for
trying to make
quick
bag,
buck,
not work a lot, get paid a ton.
Cool.
Get fat marketing deal, recruit a bunch of rookies.
This is not going to work for you.
I know some guys, but this is not it for you. Like, and if you think that we're above and we haven't ended meetings like that, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Like we've done that.
Totally.
I
All
have
the time.
done that.
All the time.
But that's where the authenticity shines through, and that's when people can feel like, oh, the intention actually is different. Like I actually feel like the customer here because I literally am. So it's differences in the way that like people feel and are perceived, and I think that's probably, at least from the conversations that all of us have had, like I think that might be the biggest shift from 1 to 2 is like fully focusing on like who our customer is and making all decisions based on like what is best for customers.
And I think like when people ask, right? Like I've never known how to like, explain it the right way, but as, I've leveled up a little bit more, understood things a little bit more. It's like people will ask like, dude, what's the difference? Like, why is your culture so rad? Like, why is like, that's the difference, bro. That's the magic. That intention matters. Intention bleeds down.
Because that's even the thing is, as Easton was talking, and it's like every regional would say that like, oh, you guys are my customer, right?
Sure.
But the biggest difference between Grit and every other door-to-door company, besides, a couple that are out there, is the rep is the company's customer here, right? And that's like the biggest difference. Like the Grit does not make money if there are no reps, right? Yes, we have Mira with 1,000 accounts. That's and it will grow. And that customer of Mira that we're going to treat just like an operating partner, as if it was Romex or Axiom or Sela, whatever that may be. But like people will just feel that if we're not, to take a page out of Chick-fil-A's book, like delighting our customers, dude, then we're just failing. Yeah. If we lose a full region, do we actually lose revenue as a company? Where other companies, if you lose a region, it's like, okay, let's just take those marketing dollars and replace them somewhere else.
Or we didn't have as much of a margin on those guys, so it is what it is.
100%. Where here, it's like, no, like you will feel like our customer, and that I feel is really our competitive edge. Because yes, the regional can supply a cool trip. The regional is you are the customer of the regional. But no. Here we take you one step further, and dude, if you don't feel like you're a customer of the company, look for a place where you will feel like the customer. And I just love that, and I think that like looking at it, like your analogy of like the slow bake, it just takes so much time.
Yeah,
if someone is trying to pitch, hey, come build a branch, you'll have an exit 2 to 3 years. This. Like, dude, we've just been in this too long. It's just not. It's not real.
Yeah.
You've got to lock in for 5 to 10 years if you want to build anything worth its weight. Yeah. And it's just hard, and it's not easy to sit across a recruiting meeting and be like, oh, they told me I can do a branch and like put 4 or 5 mil on in 2-3 years, sell it for a 3x margin and cash out. It's like
10 years. 10 years to build something great.
10 years.
I have to be convinced otherwise.
Yeah. And it's just really, really, really hard. So, Drew, as we're like closing this out, I just want to take a quick pivot because like I think that here at the Grit, our guys make great money. You've made amazing money. You and Easton, we've all made amazing money. A huge shift, and this is actually not even a giant shift, but we're going to start broadcasting it more and advertising it more, is when you make great money, we also do want to promote, and we have since the inception of Grit, like promoted like investing.
Yeah.
Because it's true, dude, if you make 50 grand, it's funny, my first summer, I made 25 grand. I was so broke after my first summer that what happened?
Bought the Lexus.
No. That was year 3, dude. I still didn't learn my lesson. I bought like the Infiniti G37. Could not afford the freaking car.
So sick.
But with that being said, right, like as we've started to Grit, and especially led by like John Taylor, we have talked a lot about like investing, right? Like I want everybody to know that's out there is, yes, our guys will make really good money. But if you don't see our guys driving the craziest cars, if you don't see our guys wearing the flashiest clothes, the reason why is, well, actually, I would love for you to speak to why that is and like what the culture is when it comes to investing here.
Yeah, I mean, like it's it's this mantra of like get rid of your money as fast as possible, right? Like invest it as quick and as fast as possible. I think though, like a shift that and like we've always had that culture. We've always had
That
like,
could be clipped. Get rid of your money as fast as possible, but obviously
with a
listen
little
to
bit
the
more
next.
context, a little bit more context. No, but like get it into places where you're not going to be able to spend it, and where it can turn into far more. And because like, dude, because I did that, after my first big summer in 2020 and in 2022, like, some of the stuff that we did, right after the 2020 summer, like I'm already starting to see the fruits of that.
Yeah.
Which is sick, right? But
But
also
then,
like,
same thing. Anything great is gonna take time.
it's gonna take time.
Or you just hit crypto and you either go bankrupt or you.
Yeah. Where like I've never dabbled with that. Like I've never dabbled with like there was a huge fad of guys like, stock trading and back at the Visium building, and like it never really interested me, right? But like getting it into the hands where it's going to compound and lead into more opportunity. But I think that a shift that like I really like and trying to intentionally make is I think there's real value in not just like wiring your money to an investment, but like actually learning how to go and like find deals, go and buy real estate, go and buy single families and mother-in-law basements and duplexes. Like there is real value in teaching a 19-year-old that comes off his second summer making 150 grand to go and find a listing, find a realtor, find a mortgage broker, strike a deal, like get tenants into it. Like there's real value in learning how to do that. And so, that's a page that I want to take from some guys in the space who have done that at a really elite level and have let that bleed down and become their culture. Like I think there's real value in that, and I totally admire that.
Yeah, because we've just talked like, dude, when you get your money, you spend it. If it's in
Yeah.
your bank account, you spend it.
You'll spend it quick.
So it's just about like the famous John, like you get the money and then you
Get it out.
Get it out, right? So whether that be with HIG, Harris Investment Group, that does a ton of single family, like apartment complexes, multi-home, whether that's gas stations, whether that's, we just did a big house in Hawaii, right? In Kauai that they're gonna be flipping here, or whether that be like Sandlot and getting into like Gab Wireless, or whether that be, whatever these different options are, the coolest part, and this is something that I think John is just world class at, is networking and getting in on these deals that guys with $25,000 have no business getting in on, right? Like guys with $50,000 have no business getting in on, where, the minimum is normally 500 grand, $1 million to get into some of these like businesses. But because John has done such an amazing job networking, they're like, oh yeah, no, like we'll take 50.
Yeah.
And that 50 for so many people, like you said though, it takes time. Yeah. Like we are just now after 4 or 5 years.
And those were like quick deals. Like those were like quick pops, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Like some of these are gonna take, they say, between 3 to 5 years. It usually means 5 years, right? So it's like the fact that you should, in decent or safe investing, it just takes time. It takes compounding. So same thing, if you're pitched an idea that's gonna have 100% return in a year, it's just not real.
It's not,
Spooky.
no, it's spooky.
Just like
Spooky.
it's just slow roasted.
Like,
right?
yeah, and I like, dude, I have tons of friends in the space who have crushed the last few years that will be sitting there with like 200 grand in the bank account, 300 grand in the bank account. It's like, yeah, dude, I just don't know what to do. Do I buy another house? Like, it's like, no, like this is why we made it a priority, because again, dude, it's the company for reps. Like that, it's important to help, a kid that comes out when he's 18 that makes 80 grand and then goes out and makes 160, like for him to just be sitting with 200 grand, right? Like as a 19-year-old, that can go very quick.
Like, I mean, I don't know if you know this. How much does Corbin have invested? Do you know?
He's close to having. I could totally butcher this, but he's right at like four almost 500K invested.
How's Corbin?
19.
like-
I didn't have that when I was
No.
19.
And that's what's so
But-
cool though. Like any other like,
But
dude,
if
19-year-old
I
kid,
stayed at my original company,
I was
like
riding a bike tucked into my sock when I was 19.
100, bro, 100, 100.
in the streets of Oregon, right?
But like,
Field Oregon.
if I stayed at my original company, like Corbin would not have that as a 19-year-old. He wouldn't have his money invested.
No.
Because like I wouldn't have my money invested.
No, he'd be driving a car that he shouldn't be driving. He would have bought something, a house that he shouldn't have bought. He would have done like, and it's just true. It's just a culture. It's just a culture. Now, has he seen any returns on it? No, not yet, dude. It's been a year. It's been 2 years. But it's like if we can have that culture, dude. Corbin's probably already almost set. But it's like, dude, our guys can be set in 5-10 years.
100%.
But like everything you see on TikTok, oh, flip this house. It only costs $1,000 to get in, and I triple. It's just not. It's just not the way it is. It just takes time.
And I think that, I don't mean to cut you off,
No.
but like, dude, that's, again, I'm coming back to intention. It's like, dude, get literate in that. Like, become financially
Yes.
literate of like what your money can turn into, and, you know, not just these big, massive pops. Like, dude, if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Like, it's not that good, right? And so it's like, also, until you have $1 million, $2 million invested, like, dude, don't chase a sexy deal. Don't.
No.
Like, dude, go to what is going to be
Tried and
true. Like that's why, dude, and I need to diversify for sure, but it's like, dude, over 80% of my portfolio is in real estate.
Yeah.
And it's like starting to buy rentals, but it's like, dude, I've done almost all of it with, you know, Harris Investment Group, who is so much, because like, dude, that's their profession. That's what they're focused on, where that frees me up to be focused on other things and doing this job. And again, pouring back into the reps. But it's like, I have tried to be conscious of like not chasing any sexy deals.
For the record, it's also just hard to like learn this stuff,
Yeah.
which is also another invitation. Like, dude, we don't care if you work with us or not. We have investment nights. We'll have, like, John just did a finance, like 101 night. Like, I don't care if you work with us or not, but like, whether you're at Aptiv or Moxie or Hawks, like, we don't care. But like, let's level up this space by becoming more financially literate. Like, let's just do it all together. But no, that was
Love
great.
it.
Anything East?
No, it's a great conversation. Drew, thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
As for this episode of The Pad, we out.